Hi, my name is Caitlin, and this is social media censorship. Social media censorship is the suppression of information, speech, or expression over various topics on social media platforms. It limits what people can see and can share on social media platforms such as Instagram, X, or formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, etc. This occurs when sites or the government decide to take down posts, hide comments, or even ban people for the content that they post. Ideally, this is meant to keep the internet as a safe space and to maintain a respectful etiquette with its users. However, some people worry that this may be used to limit what people can access and therefore limit free speech. The content which is allowed tends to vary between different platforms in different countries, which leads to social media censorship to become a heavily controversial topic. As someone who's somewhat active on social media, I've witnessed this firsthand, especially revolving around different political topics. Some instances of censorship include the censorship of Palestine and support for the Palestinian people. According to Human Rights Watch, between October and November 2023, they documented over 1,050 takedowns and other suppression of content on Instagram and Facebook that had been posted by Palestinians and their supporters. Human Rights Watch also explains that of these 1,050 cases, only one of those that were removed had content in support of Israel. The other 1,049 involved peaceful content in support of Palestine. They also claim that Meta already has a well-documented record of overboard crackdowns on content related to Palestine. That isn't to say they completely suppressed the topic, however, that is still a large number of cases that have taken place. Another example would be the recent controversy in the US over TikTok, which is owned by the Chinese parent company ByteDance. In 2024, Congress passed the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act, which then required TikTok's US operations, otherwise it would be banned. According to Congress.gov, this makes it unlawful to provide certain services to distribute, maintain, or update a foreign adversary-controlled application in the United States, and specifically includes TikTok. TikTok tried arguing that this would limit free speech. However, a federal court upheld this law in December 2024 and sided with the government's claim of a risk of data collection. There are a few ways that censoring occurs. In countries such as India, government officials use broad demands for takedowns of various content. At points, they even went as far as to have social media sites completely block protest organizers and journalists. Various sites may choose to moderate their content differently among platforms. Currently, there is no uniform standard for content moderation. Violating content can be identified by users in an automated system which may not be able to distinguish between what is actually harmful and what isn't. The usage of automated systems can quickly review large volumes of content, but it may not remove content correctly. And now you might be wondering, why should I care? Social media is arguably the most effective way to reach people and cultures that are outside of our own. However, allowing the censorship to occur makes it hard to see these diverse viewpoints as well as blocking the chance of healthy debate among others. Social media is often built in a way to optimize engagement and therefore show content that you already are interested in. You can end up with what's called a filter bubble. GCF Global explains this by saying algorithms have isolated you from information and perspectives you haven't already expressed an interest in. Also, filtering out diverse perspectives, minority viewpoints will struggle to be heard, which then weakens the opportunity for a public sphere to discuss topics. When only seeing stances that you agree with, you will lose the ability to debate over issues yourself and may not find a problem with what you believe. This also can lead to an increase in misinformation. In 2025, Meta announced that they were removing their third-party fact-checking program in favor of a crowdsourcing material. Having certified fact-checkers ensured that specific policies would be followed, but now that is no longer the case. Trong et al. Found that the algorithm suppresses a substantial fraction of genuinely helpful notes and is highly sensitive to rather biases. And a small group of bad faith readers can strategically suppress helpful notes. Most importantly, social media censorship can have the potential to violate our First Amendment rights. As found in the case Murthy v. Missouri, the Supreme Court was urged to establish a clear prohibition against government officials privately soliciting the removal or suppression of lawful political speech. This is a graph from Al-Zaman's publication, Patterns and Trends of Global Social Media Censorship, Insights from 76 Countries. According to Al-Zama, this reflects the yearly incidence of censorship worldwide from 2006 to 2024. The larger and redder circles depict the higher percentage of censorship, while smaller and greener circles depict the lower percentages. To get around censorship, users of these sites have a handful of different tools. Some use code expressions to get around content moderation, such as saying unalive instead of kill, or using the watermelon emoji when referring to Palestine. Another commonly used method is the usage of VPNs. These are used to mask your IP address and location private, which also allows the user to bypass geographical restrictions. You might be wondering what is being done to combat unfair censorship. Currently, the Digital Services Act, or DSA, requires social media platforms in the EU to provide exact and clear information whether they remove or restrict access to certain content posted on them. These reasons must be posted on a DSA transparency database. There's also some legislation being made in the U.S. An example of this is the Free Speech Defense Act, which was initially proposed in June 2024 in order to prohibit Congress from taking certain actions related to social media companies. For the experts, the American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to defending and preserving the individual rights and liberties guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They also created what is called a social media censorship toolkit with the intention of helping individuals to understand government blocking and to challenge when it happens to them. Daphne Keller is a director of platform regulation at Stanford Law. Her focus is on internet usage rates and platform regulation. She is especially focused on how platforms may use their terms of service, algorithms, and intermediary liability to regulate speech. She has published numerous works, both academically and in press, participated in the legislative process, and extensively taught and lectured. Zeynep Tufekci is a Turkish-American sociologist and a current professor of sociology and public affairs at Princeton University. She focuses on social media, artificial intelligence, and how these two may affect politics and societal changes.